Afternoon, good evening, welcome back to our sessions on getting you into your new job. We're at session 12, so we're nearly through our 15, and we're now getting really serious. We're up to the assessment centre. Two words which are enough to put fear into the hearts of any candidate. Usually complex, arduous, at least half a day, sometimes 2 days. Designed to be stressful because they believe that that will expose the real you, which may or may not be true, but that's how they work anyway. So a lot to talk about. Let's get straight into it. Usually consist of a range of things. A full assessment centre may be group exercises, individual case studies, presentation, interview, sometimes more online tests to prove you didn't choose a cheat the first time. Let's go through each of these in turn and see what we can learn about them. Case study. Try to prepare in advance by looking at case studies. You will probably not find the one that is relevant to your assessment centre, but by practicing case studies it helps you to get into the frame of mind that you need to be in to understand how to deliver them. So for example, you find that you are generally the consultant or the expert of some sort. You have to take information, you have to process it, you have to understand it, understand the issues, the problems, come up with the possible solutions, and then propose answers, recommendations. I normally suggest that you start writing as soon as you can, so that you can capture as much as possible as you go through your analysis, and so your recommendations that come out at the end are based on as full an understanding of what's going on as you can get in what is generally a short and compressed time, which again puts pressure on you. So a possible structure for a report or a presentation might be something like introduction. What were the issues that you discovered? What were the findings, the causes of those issues? And what would be your recommendations for addressing those issues and the findings? A simple structure which might help you to structure your thoughts as you go through your analysis. So, as I say, consultant or expert, often a consulting sort of engagement, or sometimes an opportunity to propose new ideas, how to run our business better, that sort of thing. Yeah, case studies, usually on your own, that's what I'm thinking about here. Sometimes half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, sometimes longer. And with an opportunity to present back to one of the assessors or provide a report to one of the assessors. Okay, case studies, group exercises. This will be a case study of some sort, and as with a case study, the group has to act as a consultant or expert in order to analyse the information, come out with an understanding of the issues, the findings, and propose solutions. So a group exercise is basically a case study for a lot of people. There's lots of things to think about as you go into a group exercise. Many things about how to get your points over in a constructive way, how to critique other people's ideas, how to get the group to work well together. You might be in competition with your group members, but for the duration of the group exercise you are all on the same team. So work closely together to deliver a good solution. The assessors will recognise who is good and who is bad at delivering a group output, and that is what they're looking for. They're not looking for somebody who can talk the most, who can monopolise things. They're looking for people who can work together in a business environment to deliver valuable conclusions and proposals. Role to play in a group. Have a think about whether you want to be the group leader or a group member. Other responsibilities might be timekeeping. You can do that. It might be the one who writes the report, writes the presentation. Try to find something to do in addition to being just a group member, because it increases your visibility. Yes, lots to think about there. Talk to people who have done it. Talk to people who can give you advice, both on the case studies and the group exercises. You need help. You need support to prepare in advance for these things. You might be asked to do a presentation. This would be based on a subject that you are given in advance. You need to prepare well in advance. You need to practice it. Come up with a nice clear structure. Depending on what the requirements are. It's often a way of improving business or thinking about things in a new way. So come up with a clear structure, practice, 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 make sure it fits in the time you've got available, make sure you're ready to discuss it afterwards, because generally speaking you present and then they discuss. So do make sure that you are preparing in advance. Again, work with somebody who has done this sort of thing before. Online tests, as you've done before probably, but generally more difficult. So you could do some practice of online tests again and be ready for something a bit more challenging. All the things we talked about previously, about video interviews, about face-to-face interviews become relevant here. How to talk to the assessors, how to build rapport, how to be smart, how to look appropriate for the environment. But obviously it takes it further, because you're building relationships with more than one person. You want to build relationships with the other candidates as well. You might even decide that you're getting on well with people. You want to set up some LinkedIn relationships between you. These are potentially your peers. They may be your competition. They may be people that you're eventually going to work together with in a different company. These are good people who it's worth having in your network. So think about whether you want to do that. You should get time during an assessment centre to talk over coffee and things. I mentioned coffee. Don't forget that an assessment centre is assessing you and may well assess you for the whole time you're there. From the time you walk in the door to the time you leave. Do not let your guard down. Even when you're eating and having a coffee, they may be assessing you for how you get on with colleagues, how you might get on with customers. So just remember, when there's a group, when there's a pause in the exercises, do not go off into a corner and check your email. Stay focused. Stay focused on what's going on. And the interview. This may be your final interview, and we'll talk about that tomorrow, about final interviews. It may be an interim one, another interim interview, but if it's a final one, as it often is in a group exercise, we'll talk about that tomorrow. So what are the actions out of today? Well, I would say go practice case studies. There's lots of them online of different sorts. Go find them, go start practicing them. That will give you an advantage when you come to assessment centres. So don't be scared of assessment centres. You can do it. Relax, be focused, prepare well in advance with somebody who can help you, and you will get through and have as good a chance as anybody, and a better chance than most, of being successful in your assessment centre. So there's some ideas on assessment centres. Happy to work with you on those. I've done a lot of coaching on assessment centres. I know the sorts of things you have to go through. Let me help you. Okay. We're back tomorrow then with final interview. I'll see you then. Bye.